The Battle of the Atlantic was the longest battle of World War II. It began when Britain declared war on Germany on September 3rd of 1939, and it ended on May 8th of 1945 when Germany surrendered. This is also the battle's Memorial Day. The battle lasted for over 5 years. The combatants involved in the battle included, on the Allies' side, the United States of America, Great Britain, Canada, and assistance from the Dominion of Newfoundland, Norway, France, Belgium, and the Netherlands. The Axis side included Germany, Japan, and also Italy. The battle ended in the Allies' victory. The most impressive and revolutionary technology used by the Kriegsmarine, or the German Navy, include the U-boat submarines and battleships such as the Bismarck class. The Luftwaffe, or the German Air Force, also had a large impact on the war. Their most beneficial planes included the fighter Focke-Wulf FW-187 Falk and the bomber Focke-Wulf FW-191. The development of the jet engine also helped the fighting force on both sides throughout the war by increasing speed and maximum altitude. On the Allies' side, the dreadnoughts and corvettes were used to counter the German Navy. In the air, the British fighter, the Supermarine Spitfire, and bomber Armstrong Whitworth Whiteley were some of the most effective forces. Aircraft carriers were also used mainly by the Allies, along with the lone German aircraft carrier, the Graf Zeppelin, which is ironically not a Zeppelin, it's actually an aircraft carrier. A stretch in the mid-Atlantic Ocean where aerial assistance could not be provided to defend convoys without aircraft carriers in World War II was called the Black Pit. This area was lethal to merchant ships. As a result, the Allies lost roughly 100 merchant ships every month during the early years of the war. This went on until around 1942. Ships were often sunk by the German U-boats. Thousands of sailors died and millions of tons of precious cargo was wasted to the bottom of the ocean. This, however, changed as technology improved. The number of merchant ships being sunk decreased, and the number of U-boats being destroyed by the Allied forces increased as the war progressed due to development of technologies such as the Hedgehog and improvement of sonar technology.
Convoys were large groups of ships consisting of dreadnoughts, corvettes, and destroyer escorts, all surrounding and protecting many merchant ships. The convoy system was mastered in the Second World War. Less than 30% of sunk merchant ships in World War II were in convoys. The other 70% were sunk while being unescorted or straggling from convoys. Wolfpacks was the term used to define the fleet of U-boat submarines. These fleets usually consisted of 8 to 10 U-boats. When one submarine had either been attacked in pursuit of attack or even just spotted, it could simply be called for other U-boats in its pack using sonar, which is sound navigation and ranging, and radio communication methods. The Battle of the Atlantic had a huge effect on the war. It was strongly in the Axis favor, as the Allies needed the merchant ships that were being sunk by the Germans. The Axis power had little to lose compared to the Allies by doing so. The Battle of the Atlantic was very necessary for the Germans. The battle cut off resources, especially from Great Britain coming over to North America during the fighting. The Allies, however, managed to make their transportation over the Atlantic more efficient and reliable, so that nearing the end of the war, Germans' attacks were much less damaging, giving the Allies the upper hand, assisting them in winning the war. There are multiple memorials in remembrance of the Battle of the Atlantic. On the Halifax waterfront of Nova Scotia, Canada, a museum was built in memory of the battle by the Canadian Naval Memorial Trust. The building consists of a green roof and glass walls overlooking the sea, where the battle once took place. There are also many battles of the Atlantic Memorial in England.
We went out one time and almost caught a submarine, almost. I'd like to mention this, if I may. I was the gunner's mate on board ship, and we had a Y gun because the ship didn't go fast enough to roll the cans off the stern, the depth charges. Well, make a long story short, the captain called me and said, "We got a submarine dead to rights," and he said, set the cans at 75 feet and so on and so forth. And when I ring, blow the bell, blow the whistle, let her rip. Okay. So he blew the whistle, and boom,